I've been playing Football Manager 26 for the last couple of days now, and I'm slowly getting used to the monumental changes that are going to make Football Manager look and feel very different. There is so much different in FM26 that I think the best way for me to just show you what's different is just by playing the game like you and I would normally play the game, so you understand how the game flows and feels. Also, sorry about the echo. Me and Laura have bought a house. All the furniture has been moved into that house, but we've got no internet there yet. So my desk is still set up here until we get internet. So welcome to FM26. This is the portal, which is the de facto homepage in Football Manager, and it shows you a lot of information at a glance. So we've got sort of the world news at the top coming through there. We've got the fixed schedule at a glance here, the league table at a glance here as well, and a few other bits like your messages too. Now this is a really good introduction to the new tile and card navigation system that they're bringing into Football Manager. These are all tiles, I believe. That's the right way around, I think. These are all tiles that we can click into to reveal a card of full information. Bear in mind, this is still an alpha version of the game. There are still bugs and there are still things to be changed. Bearing that in mind, if we click into the league table tile, for example, it reveals a card of full information. However, this card currently only shows me 20 teams. I have to scroll down to see the teams in the relegation zone. I do quite like it. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but I can see the vision they've got here and I can see the potential with it as well. The same information is there, it's just in a different place to where you're used to seeing it. Truth be told though, I don't actually use the portal screen all that much. It kind of brings you back here every now and again. You get a good glance of things and stuff like that, but I tend to navigate through the different tabs at the top and things like that as and when I need to get to different things. There is a big fundamental change in how you navigate the game though. So if we go to our messages tab here, for example, ordinarily if I press the space bar, it would cycle through all of these messages. Now, if I press the space bar, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm pressing the space bar. The game just continues instead. No longer does pressing the spacebar cycle through your messages. It makes the game quicker. You speed through the game a bit quicker. Because to be honest, am I actually bothered about a Gainsborough affiliation team report? No. It highlights messages in blue that you actually might be quite keen to see, like your scouting update, for example. That is kind of useful. My recruitment focus update, that is quite useful. It kind of highlights those in a different colour that you might be quite interested in seeing. But the regular news round, I'm not bothered about seeing this. And so no longer do I have to just cycle through all of that. If I'm desperate, I can just click mark all items as read and they're all read and I don't have to look at them at all. And you can cycle up and down your messages using the arrow keys on your keyboard, for example. So that function is still there in the game, just a different key to be using. So it did feel very weird at the start, but no, now I just feel like this is a really good little addition to the game and change to how the game navigates, and it actually does speed things up a bit. Let's work our way across the top tab a little bit here, shall we? So if we go to the squad overview page, here is another great example of a tile and card system, for example. We've got 4 players out on loan, for example. Click into that, I can see which 4 players they are at a very quick glance, and I get that bit of information. And apparently Zenokora is doing very, very well at Coleraine right now, so keep tabs on him. But from this page, I can see my youth setup, I can go to my first team, I can look at my tactics. Like, it's a really good little overview of what's going on, and then you want more information, you can click into things, and a lot of things have a full page. So if I go to my senior squad, for example, it opens up the full page of my senior squad. This is still all very customizable, which is really quite useful. You know, for example, I can insert a column here and I can look at my playing time happiness, and they're all slightly happy with their playing time. We've played 5 games this season so far, to be fair. We beat Reading on the opening day. We drew to Wimbledon, scoring in the 90th minute as well. Bolton had our number in the Carabao Cup and in League One as well. They beat us 3-1 and 4-3. That's frustrating. We beat Plymouth and Northampton, so had a pretty good start to the season. The competitions that I'm currently playing in, of course, have been knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Bolton Wanderers, but clicking into League One, we can see the full League One sort of page here as well, which is quite actually handy to see all the upcoming fixtures and a few stats and stuff like that. Again, you can click into all of these things and get more information and change the information on there. We are 6th right now in the playoffs after 5 games, so I'm pretty happy with that. And that's because I think I'm doing a pretty good job tactically. Now, this obviously is one of the biggest changes coming to FM26. We've got an in possession formation here, so you can click on the in possession little tab here, and it just shows your in possession formation and then lots of information about your players as well. We play a 4-2-3-1 in possession, and then out of possession, our wingers drop to be more like wide midfielders, and Draper joins Collins up front, and they're both tracking centre forwards, which if I can remember correctly, they track back defensively and kind of press the defenders a little bit as well, so that's quite handy. You can also go into individual player instructions here as well. Out of possession, in possession, out of possession at the top here. These are the different instructions for the different the tactics that we're using, and I can go and click into this and tell them I want to press more often, for example. So the individual instructions are still there. To be honest, I haven't played around with these too much, if I'm honest with you. I have just gone for a standard wing style of play. So if we go and create a new tactic, for example, you can still have your custom tactical styles like a control possession or a gegenpress, or just go for the clean slate at the bottom and just do whatever you want as well. I don't know, park the bus, for example. Say we're going to play Chelsea League Cup like Lincoln did in real life. It shows you information about the park the bus style of play. Shows you your in possession and out of possession instructions. Brilliant. Formation in possession. It gives you a few suggestions of what your assistant manager thinks would be good for your team. You can also expand it to this all section, which just gives you loads of different formations as well. Let's just go for a 5-1-2-2 for now, and that as well. You can actually go into these in possessions and just literally move players wherever you want as well. So you're not restricted to just those shapes that the team have given you, and you can do whatever you want as well. Like, you can go crazy with this, and I think we're going to see a lot of you out there create something really quite extraordinary. Now, this is warning me that Sonny Bradley playing out of possession as a centre-back and in possession as a striker is not going to work very well. But I'm sure there's ways where you can ignore this, and I'm sure some of you are going to come up with some very wacky creations, and it's going to be quite hilarious, but work really well. Recruitment, again, is fairly similar. You've got your standard sort of player database where you can just look through different players, and you've got all your different filters to search for certain players. So this is all, again, it looks a bit different, but the same information is all kind of there. You've also got these extra pages at the top here, so you want to set up your recruitment focuses, for example, for your scouting team. This also works in a very similar way. It looks different, but it works in the same way as it does in FM24. One new thing they are adding is this integration with Transfer Room, which are a real company that do look to facilitate transfers for real football clubs, and maybe this is a stripped back version of how it actually works in real life. But essentially, Transfer Room will go to clubs and say, what are you looking for? And Hibs, for example, will say, we want a right wing back. And so Transfer Room will go on their website, or maybe Hibs, I'm not quite sure how it properly works in real life, but essentially it's like a jobs board. Hibs say we're looking for a right wing back, and then clubs can say, we've got a right wing back for you. How about this guy? So this is going to make selling players a lot easier. So if we just click on this Hibs one, for example, they're looking at Tendai Dariqua, for example, one of my right wing backs. So if I now go to offer Dariqua out to other clubs, we can now set his value to, let's just say for argument's sake, let's try and get a sale in for this video, shall we? Let's say £10,000. That's all we want for him. And we can offer this player out now, and clubs are now going to start coming through for Tendai Dariqua. Now, hopefully Hibs are. Now, they're interested in him right now, so that'd be quite handy. So hopefully he goes to Hibs, and that kind of proves this concept works. Also, we can ask other clubs to offer us players too. So if we go to the Transfer Room in, we're looking for a right back, for example, to replace Dariqua, who's going to leave to Hibs, hopefully. They're going to be 26 years old at most. Playing time, we want a regular starter. And yeah, we'll submit those requirements, and hopefully in a few days' time, we'll get some players coming through. The Matchday tab is more about your preparation for the upcoming matches. So the tactic is obviously a big part of this, but this is where the scouts and things like that come through with your information on the next game and stuff like that. So again, it's all the very similar information, like your data hub is going to be here as well, your opposition reports, the feedback on previous games. It's all the same information that was there, just displayed in a different way in a different place. And like I say, it's going to take time to learn how to navigate all of this. But once we do, it will feel like Football Manager still. It just looks very different, and the information is presented in a different way, but it's all fundamentally the same stuff. The club screen is basically exactly what the club screen was in the previous games as well, but just the information presented in a different way in this tiling card system. Like, click into the club vision, the same stuff still there. I mean, this screen looks very similar to how it looks in Football Manager 24, just different colours and maybe a slightly different placing of things and stuff like that. But, you know, we've got the supporter objectives here, the board objectives, the 5-year plans, and the performance feedback in a card as well. You can click into the recruitment, it's all the same information, just displayed in a different way. The career tab actually is quite new. I'll give them that actually, because this does feel a bit different. It gives you a bit more information in a better displayed way than in Football Manager 24 about you and your manager, particularly like this qualifications thing here. Like, it gives you a bit better visual representation of what qualifications you have. I currently have none, apparently, so I need to work on that. In fact, can I start a coaching course, please? I'd like to start a coaching course. They're going to get back to me. Great. Oh, what? The board have said no. The board have said no to give me a coaching course. Here we go. Look, the transfer room out has worked. Hibs have come in with a bid of £10,000 for Deriqua. That's the offer we said we wanted for him, and they've come in with it, and we can very quickly get him sold. But actually, I do want to keep him for the next game, so I'm going to reject this. This is just a proof of concept that whole transfer room thing works. Right, so we've got a game against Mansfield coming up. I'm very happy with the team. Let's leave the team as it is. This has to be a win. This is the local derby, Mansfield Lincoln. They're not too far away from each other. This screen feels very familiar from FM24. Again, it's basically this is what was in FM24. So everyone should be used to this. No longer can we say we're going to throw the water bottle or thrash the arms around. It just is the text prompts now instead. So this is the match we should be winning. This is the purple one highlighted is what my assistant manager is recommending. I'm going to say let's make use of the home advantage and get a result out there. No one's particularly reacted very well. Appeared interested. I'll give that. That's something at least, isn't it? And then, like I say, this is an alpha version of the game. The stand hasn't rendered here, so everyone's just floating above the ground. There should be a stand there. This is the match engine. This is how it's going to look, and this is an upgrade. I mean, ignore the stand not being there. That is hilarious. But this does visually look really quite nice. It is quite the upgrade on FM24. And this is how it's all looking. I've not actually played a rainy match yet. This is the first time I'm seeing the rain. And I'll be honest, I don't think the rain looks brilliant. So let's just pause the game right now, because this is the screen when you're not watching the 3D match engine. You've now got this permanent 2D box here showing you the dots and what's happening at times 30, 40 speed, whatever it is. At first, I thought this was a little bit strange, but actually it's a very good way to understand the match momentum. If you see, like we're Lincoln City, we're in red, Mansfield in the yellow. If we just see all the dots at this end of the pitch all the time, then we know, even if maybe we've only had one shot to 0 shots, we are dominating the game and we're keeping Mansfield penned into their defensive third. Here are all the options for what's going on in the game. You've actually got an instant result button now, which I think you could only get on certain skins, but this is now in the default base skin, this instant result button. So if you can't be asked to watch the match, just press instant result and the result comes through for you. We've got plenty of different camera angles here as well. Broadcast is the one that I think most people are going to be sticking to, because this gives you all the really cool new camera angles, like behind the player for a corner, a bit more zoomed in on some players. Tactical is what sideline used to be. I used to play on sideline exclusively. If you watch any of my videos, the normal camera angle was sideline. That's now called tactical in this. But actually, I might switch to broadcast, and I think broadcast could be more fun for videos. This dynamic highlight mode is fun. A smart mode which selects modes depending on context. This dynamic mode is going to be really quite fun to use, I think, on a sparing scale. The idea behind dynamic mode is that you will see more highlights at the end of a cup final, for example. Increase the tension, make you sweat it out a little bit more. Maybe if you're in a derby game and you're drawing very late on, it will show you more highlights, for example. So this is what I mean. The broadcast mode here, it gives you these kind of extra zoomed in angles on corners to just give you something different to look at, for example. I think I prefer the one when it's on the near side of the pitch, where it's behind the player, and it looks really quite cool actually, as the Deriqua shot there goes high and wide and not at all handsome. I think the way the game now looks is quite a big step up from FM24. The animations feel a lot smoother. I mean, maybe not there because TomFM was just sort of dancing around, but that sort of pass there, I think it would always look pretty awkward as a beat goes through. He put us in front here as well, and again a slight little bug here, 0 goals in one match. I guess he's technically scored 1 in 1 now. And here, some of these new camera angles as well, kind of showing us these different replay angles, and you get a different view of the goal. And actually it's a nice tidy finish this, to be fair, from Abiku. We're here to look at how pretty the game looks right now, and like I was saying, I think the animation work they've done here, particularly the volumetric player animation data, as Hackett's got a goal there with a header at the far post. You love to see it. They've done an awful lot of work here with the animations of players and how players move, and it looks a lot more fluid than it did in FM24, so they've made some really big upgrades here. I am delighted, by the way, that I'm actually winning. I was really panicking that I was going to get like smashed 5-0 and everyone just called me a fraud in the first... The game's not even out yet. It's an alpha build of the game. I was just concerned everyone was going to call me a fraud, but we're doing okay here, I think, at the moment as we hit half-time. 11 shots to 7, Abiku and Hackett with the goals, a good XG as well. Things are going well. I am happy with the number of shots on target so far, keep it up, but also individually, let's go to Abiku, shall we, individually, and say, keep up the good work, you're playing brilliantly out there, and he looks very happy. So you can still do attackers, midfielders, defenders, individuals, but I think most people are going to just stick to the squad, aren't they? 2D Classic is still there if you love these dots, but they're upside down. The numbers, again, it's alpha, let's just... remember that. If we go to behind the goal, that's still there. Can you reverse it? You can reverse it as well. So look, we can behind this goal instead now, which is good. If you did anyone actually use behind the goal? And maybe use it for like penalties in videos, but who actually uses behind the goal? I don't know. Aerial is like the 3D. It's like the data analyst's view before. I think it was called data analyst before. Broadcast is what we've been looking at already. Tactical is this one on the sideline. This is typically what I would use in a normal FM24. Change the camera height. I always had the camera height on 0 and the zoom on the highest. But it just feels like a very different angle, this. I think the camera got lower in FM24 and a little bit more side on. This feels a little bit too top down. Anyway, is Roberts going to score a goal here for Mansfield? No, he's rubbish. I'm going to press instant results and we can see how the instant result works to get out of the game. Abiku scores in his debut. You've got to wait for the game to actually continue. We scroll down here. We won 3-0. Rob Street scored right at the end. Now, one thing that maybe is a downside of not being able to just cycle through your messages is that I don't know if anyone's come back to us about a right back from the transfer room. I can't see it here. If we go to recruitment, transfer room in, we're looking for... Oh, we've had 11 responses. Oh, wow. This is really good. And we've got scouting recommendations on all of these guys as well. So let's not sign this guy from Everton or Istanbulspor. But James Donnelly from Peterborough. Okay, that's then the recommendation here from our scouts. The excellent rating there. If we click onto this, we can declare interest, offer a trial, make an offer. So we know these guys are available for between 130 and 1.3 million. Maybe it's not telling me exactly how much I've got today. I mean, it is for this guy, £95,000. Pay Toir £95,000 and we get Lucas. I won't try and say his surname. But for James Dornelli, if we ask agent about availability, we say we're very interested. What's it going to take to get a deal done here? Peterborough want between, 130 and 1.3 million. Okay, he wants quite a lot of wages, to be fair. So can we now make an offer? Peterborough's rivalry with Lincoln is reflected in the asking price. Okay. Well, it's coming here at £135,000. That's what's opened up here. If I just press suggest terms there, oh, now they want a lot more. We can't afford that. I guess we can look at training as well a little bit. And again, it works in such a similar way to Football Manager 24. It just looks different. For example, I can click into this rest here on Wednesday the 10th and I can change that to whatever I want it to be, for example. I think I've got my assistant manager just doing all of this right now. This particular week, for example, we're doing some technical training. I can change that to do something different. The recommended for that week, of course, is technical, but maybe I want to work on tactical instead, for example. So it's very, very similar to FM24. It just looks different. Also here, actually, I realise I've not shown you player profiles at all. That's quite an important part of the game, isn't it? To be honest, things haven't changed massively. I quite like how this is much bigger than it was in FM24. I think the main thing you want to be seeing are player attributes, and clearly this puts player attributes front and center. Again, more tiles and cards at the bottom for things that you want to see. The navigation for player profiles is now very different. It's on this sort of central row here. So overview obviously gives you an overview of the player's footballing ability and a bit of their information down there. Personal, obviously all about contracts and their personal information as well. And again, this tiling card system is quite good. He's got one long-term objective. What is it? Click into it. You can see he wants to be an assistant manager once his playing days are over, kind of thing. And also, I like this here as well. Agree playing time, important player. Is that, yeah, star player. So it's a good visual representation. I do like some of these little visual things they've put into the game, actually. Performance tab is obviously how they're performing. This is where you see how good they are. I rely on the stars quite a lot. I know you shouldn't really rely on the stars, but I do like the stars. He's a leading Sky Bet League One player, so that's where all the information there is shown. Particularly when you've scouted a player and you're looking at them thinking, well, how good actually are you? Go to the performance, you can see the scout report and it will tell you how good your scouts think they are, kind of thing. Career stats here across all of his time playing across. I didn't realise he played in Sweden for a bit. Did old Sonny Bradley. Fair play. So again, it's a similar case of all the same information is there. It's just shown in a very different way. We're on deadline day. I didn't realise that. I was thinking, why is it taking so long to progress through the game? Now, in FM24, you can opt into deadline day or not. That doesn't seem to be an option here in FM26 in the same way it was in 24. But on the portal, for example, you can see you've got agent offers in the top right here on deadline day rather than the fixtures that were there earlier on, for example. So there is some tweaks in the game that happen on deadline days, and we can see what's going on here. Agents offering out players at different times, which actually is quite fun, to be fair. You can get rid of some recommendations if you're not bothered about them. Like Duncan Watmore is open to joining Lincoln right now. We've got players transfer listed, open to joining Lincoln, considering changing club, for example. So you can kind of see what's going on with different players. Like Logan Briggs is testing the water for a possible move because he's not going to play for Leicester this season. So again, it's probably different to how it looks in FM24, but that information is still there. Right, Man United under 21s. Abiku's got to come out for his injury, of course, so James Collins on you come instead. Abiku off the bench we'll put Finn Barbrook on the bench as well. Let's play a strong team here. Maybe put McGrandles in instead of Varfolomeev. Let's start Reach instead of Towler. Eric Ring on the right-hand side rather than Rob Street, and let's give that a go. But I'm expecting us to batter the under 21s of Manchester United here. I want to see some nice goal animations. I want to see some good celebrations. I want to see Freddie Draper smash this one in from 30 yards, but he's being wise, playing it out to Adam Reach on that far side, who's overlapping where Rico Hackett is. Puts it into James Collins, who hits the crossbar. James Collins. He scores goals wherever he goes, but that was very unfortunate for him. Looks like United under 21s are coming forwards. Now, how have we not put a tackle on this guy yet? We had at least 6 players around him. He's on his own completely, and somehow he's given Ibrahimov chance to shoot, and luckily can't score. I'm a little bit concerned that 31 minutes in, we've not been able to score past a bunch of teenagers here for Manchester United, although a few of them are probably going to be very good in the game. They're going to have some high potential. I don't know if Shea Lacey's playing. I know he's meant to be sort of the one to watch in the United youth teams at the moment. James Collins does finally score there. Nice tidy finish down at the near post here. So Adam Reach puts in a great ball here on his weaker right foot, actually. He's a left-footed player, but James Collins does well to just beat the defenders. Slots it in at such an acute angle there. What a finish. And now I can relax knowing that we are winning. Half time, well done on controlling possession so far. That's what we want, and everyone seems very happy with that, by the way. I'm going to take Eric Ring off for Rob Street. Actually, Ben House can play on the left, can't he? Substitute off for Ben House on my left, and Draper substitute off for, I guess no one else can come for him, so we'll just leave Draper playing. He's 6'5", it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's substitute off McGrandles for Volafalma. Let's take... Oh, we just scored a goal. Eric Ring. So Hackett gets the ball from Draper, cuts inside, beats his man, plays a low ball into the edge of the area. Eric Ring, first time shot on his left foot, beats the keeper. It's Hackett and Ring, the two combined, that I've just taken off the pitch. Now, this is what I mean by the broadcast view. It gives you such cool camera angles like that are going to be so good for me to use in videos. I'm looking forward to that kind of versatility in the camera angles and things like that. You don't get those kind of camera angles if you're using something like Tactical or the 2D Match Engine, for example. So this is where you maybe want to stick on broadcast to get those kind of cool angles. Let's hide these players down here. I want to see what's going on down here as the United under 21s look to come forwards. And Ibrahimov is doing quite well to beat Adam Reach down on this near side. Dariqua can't win his header either, so Sam Mather has now got a chance to put the ball back in. Gets past his man quite comfortably. Takes the shot, and United have scored. And wow, Jack Fletcher's got minus 1,000 goals in minus 999 matches. That's quite impressive, I feel. We do win 2-1 there. 2 wins from 2 in a video. I'll take that. I've been recording now for way longer than I should have been. I'm going to have to do a lot of work to edit this down into a 30-minute video. But hopefully you've got a good grasp on FM26 and a good understanding of how the game flows and looks and feels. If you feel like you've got that, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe for more content. We're going to have loads of FM26 stuff coming out soon. And luckily, I am going to be allowed to stream FM26 for 90 minutes tomorrow. Click this thumbnail on the screen right now to go to that stream on YouTube to set a reminder for yourselves to get a notification when I do go live, and you won't miss anything. Ask me anything you want about FM26 and we'll go through it all and find all the bits of information that you really want to see.